You have another, no matter what happens, you have skill that you'll be able to select, another skill to select and survive. You will need skill set. A skill range, it means multiple but different skills. A skill set means multiple skills but complementary that create mastery. Ladies and gentlemen, a skill is application done repeatedly, application done habitually, consistently, with improvement. A skill is really not consistency, it's consistency in improvement. And so if that is the case, we want you to look at what are the things you need to master. You must master the process of visionary, seeing far into the future. Not enough for you to have hindsight, insight, oversight, but you must have foresight for the next 3, 5 years and farsight for the next generations. You must have communication, mastery in communication, leadership, marketing, financial intelligence, goal setting and activity management, and personal mastery, so as to be able to be an all-rounder, good in community, experience, intelligence, physical, emotional, mental, social, spiritual, cultural, financial. So must have must be good. Today, we are improving your financial intelligence. So look at all the 7 areas of mastery. Scale yourself on a scale of 1 to 10. And look at the things, areas where you score not more than 6. If you score 6, you need to really work hard. If you score between 6 and 8, there's room for improvement to enter into the 9 and 10 box. And if you're already in the 9 and 10 box, just keep on improving, because the standard is also growing every day. So what we want you to do, we want to give you an opportunity today to transform your values, your mindset, to gain some masteries that will help transform your life, that will help transform the community, the empowering values of the community you find yourself at work, at home, or wherever. That will transform culture, teams, organization, community, and make you some impact where you are. Those impact, when we say you are impactful, is the guy that makes impact that leaves a legacy. We want you to leave legacy. And impact means you'll be able to inspire people, do things that makes meaning, the end. And you must do things with passion, the P. The A means you must take action. The C, you must do all the things you are doing. You must be impactful with character, with integrity. And finally, the T, we want you to transform the environment you find yourself. Impact truly makes sense. Impact inspires, makes meaning, passion, action, character, and transformation. You're already shaped to make a difference. You have what it means to make a difference. You have S, the special gifts, talents that you need to work on. Your heart is the seat of passion. Your A is the ability and competencies you've already gained before now. Your P is your personality. Your E is your experience. And when these 5 things are combined with what we are learning today, you are able to take a decision. You are able to act. Decision determines destiny. What you act on, the choice you make, has consequences. And so you are able to make a difference in the society you find yourself, and you can find great fulfillment and unique purpose for your life. Ladies and gentlemen, having laid a foundation, we want you to know and remember that education is key for transformation. Education is key. Mandela said education is the most powerful weapon you can use to change the world. We want you to change the world. You may not come to the business school Netherlands, but we can still touch you through this free educational system for you to change the world. We will want you to remain bright, to be brave, to be bold, to be beautiful, and to be brilliant. It is for this reason we are bringing these people who are already transforming the organization. They are already transformational leaders. People like my mentor, Dr. Oluwabunmi Fatugashi, the Chief Medical Director of the Bishop Onabanjo University Teaching Hospital, that has taken an ordinary general hospital and is transforming it to a center of excellence among the tertiary institutions in this country. All the likes of Farm Sonny Halume, a mentor to me for many, many years, who is the managing director and a board member of the Bridge Clinic. So let me quickly introduce them. I will introduce the lady first for very obvious reasons. Because I'm actually born by a woman. Number one, we have a consultant with us, a consultant anesthesiologist, and one anesthetist, who a large number of people, they run away from this area of medicine for very obvious reasons. And alumnus of Obafemi Awolowo University, College of Health Sciences in Obafemi Awolowo University, as Olabisi Onabanjo University, Agbowoyo, a fellow of the National Postgraduate Medical College as well, West African College of Surgeons and the International College of Surgeons, fellowship in many areas. And in medical practice, she's been there for almost 3 decades, during which she has held several leadership positions, like I mentioned to you, in the university and the teaching hospital, from head of department to being member and chairman of different statutory committees. She's actually the first female chairman of Medical Advisory Committee between 2019 and 2022 of Hospital Director of Clinical Services for 28 months. She's not only had the position of acting chief medical director for another 30 months before being appointed as the first female substantive chief medical director, CMD, of Nigeria's first state teaching hospital. Dr. Oluwabunmi Motunrayo, I think so. He's a transformational leader who loves to add value to people around her. She's very passionate. Please let me show you your video. Let's know who you are now. You didn't even show your video. Let's see. Let's see now. People want to see your beautiful face and know that you're actually a woman, since I've told them you're a woman. So she's actually multitasking. She just left a workshop and she's here to speak. So she loves to add value to people around her. She's very passionate about positive and impactful change in all that she does. You see the word impact again. She's somebody who believes in inspiration, in making meaning out of the lives of people that she's leading, and she's leading thousands of people in the teaching hospital. She's happily married to Dr. Kehinde Fatugashi, I believe another medical director, another medical doctor, and medical director of an hospital again, and blessed with very beautiful children. Ladies and gentlemen, I introduce Dr. Oluwabunmi Motunrayo Fatugashi to all of you. She will eventually take the mic, but let her permit me to introduce the man. You know, women are there before men. So man was created before woman. But we have been told that we cannot find happiness unless we say ladies first. So we have to introduce ladies before the man. So the man may wear many glasses, so may look very handsome, but they will still introduce the woman before the man. So Sonny, no vex. The second person I'm introducing is somebody who has been a mentor to me for several years. She has taught me several things. She has taught me how to inspire people, how to really live a life of meaning, how to work with passion, how to work with action-oriented, how to, work in character and try to do transformation. But she didn't teach me how to make money. She's made money in many industries. In the pharma industry, she's made money. In manufacturing, she's made money. In telecom, she's made money. I mean, everywhere. All the big industries in Nigeria, where there's money, he has worked. And finally, he's now a board member and managing director of Bleach Clinic, has another almost 3 decades of experience in strategic leadership and management of sales, marketing, people, material resources across world-class organizations, where she made money where he made money in FMCG, made money in telecom, made money in manufacturing, made money in pharmaceutical, making money now in medical. He's a volunteer at the policy. Me, I've only been struggling in teaching. He's a volunteer at the Policy Commission of the Nigeria Economy Summit Group and an alumnus of Faith Foundation. Prior to joining Bleach Clinics, Sonny worked in various capacities in the following organizations: Pfizer, Nimet, Promasidor, Airtel, Pfizer, MTN. Tell me, any of these companies that you see here, that somebody will not make multiples of billions of money. So he's an MBA holder with specialization in marketing management. a bachelor's degree holder of pharmacy. He bagged a certificate in leadership and management in healthcare from the University of Washington. He's a change management and regional turnaround strategist, a published writer and author, and he belongs to the following professional association: the Political Society of Nigeria, the Nigerian Institute of Marketing of Nigeria, the Nigerian Institute of Management, and the Association of Nigerian Authors. It's such a great honor for me to call on, to introduce Sonny Ehalume, Farm Sonny Ehalume. Congratulations. On that note, will I call on Dr. Thank you. Will I call on Dr. Oluwabunmi Fatungashi to please share slides? Once you are sharing, this one will go off automatically, or let me stop this. So she's now in a position, and I will revisit and summarize whatever they've shared with you later in the day. God bless you. Over to you, Amen. Dr. Fatungashi.
Thank you, sir. I've asked Larry to share from your end there.
Okay, no problem.
Yes, sir. Right. Larry, please let me share my slides from your side. I've sent it to him. So whilst he's trying to get that done for me, I want to thank you, Prof. Larry Bale.
Thank you.
You apparently overrated me. You are my mentor. I'm not your mentor.
You are mentoring me. There's something called reverse mentoring now. I'm learning how to make money through you. You have to teach me how to make money and how to be in charge of thousands of people. I can only manage 50 people at a time.
Thank you, sir. That is more headache than making money. You know, the public sector. So I want to start by appreciating all the distinguished audience that we have this afternoon. And most especially, I'm grateful to the leadership of BSN for mentoring me, teaching me, and also granting me this platform to be able to share the little progress that we've had in OETH. And of course, I wouldn't forget to mention that a tremendous applause should go to the board, who are transformational. We'll still go back to that later. So he has introduced me. I'm expecting my slide to come on. Larry, are you having any problems on from your end? So whilst we are waiting for this to...
Just give me a minute.
Okay. So whilst we are waiting for this to come on, I'm the Chief Medical Director, the Chief Servant of the Olabisi Onabanjo University Teaching Hospital. Is a government or say public facility. My facility is actually the first state-owned teaching hospital in Nigeria. And it was established by an edict in 1986. We started with about 90-bedded general hospital, which was translated or upgraded into the tertiary facility. And by the grace of God, we have the sole task to offer services, training, and research to medical students, doctors, and other healthcare workers. The hospital right now is over 350 bedded. It's over 350 bedded with 2 annexes, one at Abeokuta and the other one at Sharjah. Do you want me to control from my end here? Slideshow. You have the cursor, Larry, please, can you? I'm not sure. Okay, let me try from here. You have the cursor from your side. It's not, okay. Okay. I'm on the introduction, so you can go to the 3rd slide, please. Thank you. So what are these are the outlines I'm going to talk through in the next few minutes. Next slide. So what are our peculiarities? The peculiarity number 1 is that we're a public health facility. And what that implies is that, we are government owned, we are controlled by, we're regulated, and we have control by the state government, who still pays our bills. And health is mainly seen as a social service which has to be heavily subsidized. In fact, a majority of people, even in this age, still come to the health facility believing that it is meant to be free, particularly when it's also advertised to be free. But health actually is not free. Somebody somewhere has to pay for somebody's health care. So, and of course, there's inadequate funding due to many competing interests from our boss. You know, there are road constructions, there is agriculture, there's other commerce and things like that. And then because we have aging infrastructure, in spite of that, we need to expand services, particularly with accreditation demands, not only for medical, for physiotherapy, for medical life science and things. We need to keep upgrading. And the purchasing power is increasing every time. Now, there's high cost of training of healthcare staff, both medical and other paramedics. And there's need to replace equipment with more expensive, more sophisticated ones in this time and age. So what next did we do? What I'll start by is saying that everything rises and falls on leadership. And so leadership is influence. And influence is simply the ability to make a change. It's important that the leader knows what to do, is able to inspire, is able to motivate action and kickstart. A leader that is going to transform must be able to lead the change himself or herself and lead by example. That is when transformation can actually begin and continue and be sustained. So what did we do? Okay, perhaps I should just tell you about financial leadership. It's the ability of a leader to guide an organization's financial strategy and operations to achieve its goals and objectives. And this involves overseeing financial planning, budgeting from the micro level to the macro level, forecasting of what is expected or how to generate revenue, or what is meant to be expended, then reporting, ensuring compliance with regulations, and optimizing financial performance. And particularly being a public sector, we are also, prone or open to external auditors, which, is being done like every 2 years. Then must be able to drive financial strategies and operations and ensure financial integrity and compliance. I mentioned that the leader must be firm, particularly a financial leader, must be firm and must lead by example, must be transparent, and whatever he or she is saying must be seen in what he or she is also doing. The next slide, please. So it took us to have a set goal. When there are no goals, then there will be no plan. And when one does not plan, one is planning to fail. What are the goals we set out for? The first of the goals was to minimize or block wastages. This was after an overall assessment was done, an overhauling of the system, which we still go to in the next slide. And the next goal was to increase revenue generation. Now, mind you, we had to be clear with the goals or what we want to achieve, despite the limitation or the challenge that it's a public facility. And the next is to increase our cost savings or to cut down our expenditure. So what did we do, or what were the plans? Number one, we started with a system overhaul. We needed to diagnose what the problem was. The board started in December 2020. And once they came on board, we have a lot of distinguished entrepreneurs on the board, and they were mainly from the private sector. And of course, they saw what was happening currently in the public sector, and they compared with the private sector. And they realized that we had potentials, but we had a lot of, roadblocks, bureaucracies, and policies, which will not allow us to, move forward. Despite the fact that we still had to stay within the limits or within the confines of the financial regulation of a nation. So we set out, after the diagnosis was made, we realized that all traditional ways of doing things had to stop. For instance, the use of checkbooks was stopped immediately, and some policies had to be changed. And one thing that was identified was the mindset of people from the leadership downwards, from the management, yes, from us, and the management team and everybody. You see, the mentality in the public sector is that whether we do it or not, whether we come to work or not, we'll be paid our salary and everything will go. And health may be seen as free social service. We cannot make health business. But at last, we realize that somebody has to pay for quality health. Resources are being used and they have to be replaced. And so it is important that the mindset has to be overhauled. It's like being overriding the current setting and return to a better factory setting. So operations have to be reviewed. For example, the procurement processes, the big processes had to be reviewed and overhauled. And we needed to be sure that the people that were even being, the vendors that are bidding for consumables or for equipment and things, were actually giving us good quotes. So we just sit down at our corner and allow somebody to just dictate a price. We have access to internet, so we could check and compare those prices and also talk through the prices. Budgeting processes were also reviewed. Initially, what was met on ground was people were asked to just submit budgets and we just do copy and paste, because the impression is if we budget, even if we submit it, nothing is going to be done. So why do I have to stress myself? But with the mindset and continuous training and retraining, relearning, unlearning, and new learnings, we made people convinced, our HOUs and head of departments, that budgeting had to be done from their own level. And they must be able to defend what they want to use. And they must bring logical budgets, achievable things. There's extravagant budgeting is not encouraged. Apart from the fact that we went through a series of budget training at different levels. And of course, we have monthly budget reviews, quarterly budget reviews, and also budget performance meetings were also put in place. Prices of services were also continuously being reviewed. For instance, in pharmacy, they have the liberty to immediately sensitize the management that there's a new price of this. Because recently we had the volatility of prices and the markets issues with costing and everything. And so once there is there's a new price of a product, the management is immediately sensitized and immediately the price is reviewed. For instance, if Panadol was selling currently in the hospital for 100 naira, and they realized that even the market, it has become like 200 naira. It is pointless or baseless or not revenue, productive, to continue to sell at that price, because we won't have enough money to buy another set of products of paracetamol. So consistent and continuous price review was being done. Activation of new policies were also put in place to be able to support our goals. So a plan was put in place for us to be able to achieve those goals. Next slide. So how did we minimize or block stages or block wastages? We centralized financial approvals to avoid double approvals. And it might look a bit Herculean for the CEO, but it's also helped us to make sure that there are no leakages and somebody underneath the CEO is not giving us some other financial approvals. And approvals were done, apart from it being, done physically, we were translating them into electronic devices that they can be monitored, they can be audited, they can be followed up. And electronic payments and revenue collection system was introduced. We practically stopped internal staff for most of our vendors to collect cash. We are reducing it to barest minimum. And the next level is to transit to getting a wallet or a card that can make anyone that comes into the hospital to be able to pay electronically. They can load the card and this can be made possible. And then the next that was done, the second of our goal was to have strategies for cost savings. What were these strategies? Number one, we stopped distributing. I'm on the second slide. I'm on the next slide. We stopped the purchase and distribution of hard copy newspaper. I just realized in my office that after I spent about 1 year in the office, I don't even have time to read any newspaper. And they were constituting nuisance. Somebody else packs them at the end of the month and sells, and then just pockets the money. I felt this money can be reserved or preserved in the hospital. So we started that. I said everybody should read news. They should cut it from all the management offices, all the heads of departments, and everywhere where it was, at least we were able to save about 128,000 per month. That might look a little bit small, but I'm sure accumulating this over the months, over the years, is good cost saving. Then the frequency and duration of meetings were cut down, because apart from the time wastiness, it was also consuming a lot of money for refreshments. The longer a meeting, the more the demand for refreshments, for tea breaks, so we now, had hybrid modalities to encourage, those meetings to be done and can be done at the leisure of the staff wherever they are, and also made a fast turnaround of reports. Then we converted all our pay slips. It used to be hard copies, and there will be, a huge number of them. And sometimes some people will now request for a reprint because they needed probably to take some to the embassy, and they can't find it again. It was another source of wastage. Now, why I'm mentioning this, they may look like little things, but they were things that accumulated just like little drops of water that made an ocean of cost savings for us. So we called the IT unit to, generate institutional emails for all staff, every level and cadre of staff, junior and senior staff, all heads of department, departmental, emails. So pay slips were sent to individuals monthly via this means. And so we cut down on purchase of paper. And then physical postages and deliveries were done by emails, or travels when it is compulsory that they had to be delivered. They were matched together. In fact, at a point, I had the liberty of getting my approvals from the board online. For some, I have a level of approval, of financial approval. And I was at liberty and I got it. And what this means is that I can process a limited bureaucracy. I can process approvals and requests early. And at the same time, we conserved money traveling to Lagos or wherever most of the times. Then we regularized alternate power usage to maximize efficiency. Things that needed to be done in the morning, particularly when energy was now becoming, going higher and higher, apart from the fact that we introduced solar system to some few departments that had to use inverters to sustain work and things like that. But we regularized alternate power usage and maximized the 8 to 4 time in the hospital, so that we limited the use of generator and purchase of diesel after work hours. We just limited it to facilities or to the sectors or departments that must run 24, like accidents and emergency, radiology, the modular theaters, and co. Then the management had to sacrifice their per diem allocation quota because we needed to lead by example. So for the past few years, we needed to just say, okay, we are showing that others may, but we cannot. And by the time we are now seeing this coming in excess of a particular group or team, we were more comfortable to caution them or to reduce this because it was part of our cost-saving strategy. Then how did we increase revenue generation? Apart from all the savings that we've costed, the next one was we were getting monthly to quarterly sales review from the financial statements. And this helped us to see how we're performing monthly. And then subsequently, once this is seen, we call the particular HOD and ask them what is happening in your department. And this helped us to empower each HOD or HOU because their mindset also is being transformed. They were able to also be part of the financial decisions. The financial decision was not only left to the CEO or the CMD or the management. It was part of what they could decide. They could also look inwards and decide, oh, this is not working well in my department. This is the best thing to do. And so they were involved and they had a sense of belonging. And this diversity of ideas helped to prod our revenue also upwards. And then financial prudence was encouraged in all the departments. In fact, I always talk to all the other departments, and they have this type of thinking. Well, the first thing I want to ask is, what are you generating in your department? okay, if you're not generating, how are you reducing costs? If perhaps your department cannot generate, how are you, for instance, in engineering department, they're always doing repairs, doing this, and they hardly would generate anything. They're the ones using diesel, using this repairing, and I always have to ask them, though you are not generating funds, you may not be the capacity to generate. You are making repairs. If our repairs are done on time, we save costs. And then we prevent unnecessary extravagant repairs. So appropriate budgeting and fund allocation was also encouraged. Then appropriate service pricing and regular review was done, and which is still ongoing across board all the departments. Now, what are the creative innovations that we got ourselves involved in? Now, note that everything we're doing, there are so many systems going on simultaneously, to achieve the 3 goals. And at the same time, we still welcome, ideas from the different HOUs, head of departments, and there are some that we need to refine and we redefine and improve and get better. So all these processes are not static. So we had to automate most of our processes. We are not 100% fully automated, but you can be sure that from revenue collection to payment systems, it is now automated. And very soon, our bid process is going to be 100% automated. Our Health Research Ethics Committee recently launched their fully automated system, because I think sometime last year, we got one of our staff who was apparently collecting proposals from some, innocent nursing students, tell them to pay in cash, she will pay for them, and then revenue was leaking from that avenue. But now, the ethics department or unit will not work on your ethics, your proposal, if it is not submitted fully automated, and then of course, your receipt will be uploaded automatically. So revenue collection process was also automated. Electronic medical records, now we are almost about 65 to 70%, ongoing process. Then we got CCTV camera to upscale our security, surveillance, which has actually caused our losses or caused a lot of thefts in the hospital. And there are notices in the hospital that there is 24-hour surveillance. Initially, the investment sounded or looked huge, but it was worth the while, because theft of batteries and having to replace batteries for some places in the hospital has drastically reduced. And then Sage Evolution is what we translated to for our financial solutions from Sage 50 to Sage 200. And we are almost concluded in this twice. And then at a point in time, we realized that our consumption of soap for hand washing, for floor washing was high. And what we were purchasing from the market, and then the head of nursing in charge of that unit, infectious disease, came up with this idea. And I said, okay, let's do a market survey. And we realized that what we needed to do was just to get trained some junior staff. And this staff were, retained in the system. And from that time, is over like 18 months to 2 years now, we've been producing the soap that we use in the hospital, which has cut down our expenses drastically. The next slide. What other measures did we get into? There were creation of committee to monitor minor projects. We call this our own hospital EFCC. They are called the Project Monitoring Committee. So what we do is that they have been commissioned to get a summary of all payments made in the hospital. And they follow up on those projects. They want to find out, okay, if 1,000 naira was released to repair something, when was it done? Was it done satisfactorily? They will meet with the end users. And if it was released to a staff, the staff has to explain why it is not done. And if the policy we have, if you get money from the purse of a hospital and this project is not executed within 2 weeks that you got the fund, your salary will be stopped and it will not be restored until the work is done and done very well. And this had made everybody to be on their toes to deliver. In fact, what we encourage is you do before and after. You send a picture to me once the project is executed. If there are purchases, the audit unit also takes part of it. So this committee has many different members of staff as members, and they're committed to carry out this task. And this has helped alleviate the stress on the management, following up on funds released and for those, projects to be actually actualized. Then activation of no cash collection policy by hospital staff. This is well noted everywhere, as many as possible. And you see, when I said it's an ongoing process. Once we discover there's a department or a unit where for one reason or the other, a staff is still collecting money from any staff, any patient relative, we sit down and talk about it. We nip it in the bud right there and then. We don't wait for, for months or for weeks for action to be taken. We take instant action and we see results. It's better we do that. Some people said they can no longer hear me, but I'm talking. Check your audio on your side, Dr. Mafe. Okay, so start training and retraining on budgeting and accountability. And apart from this, we also engage in customer service training, because even if your services are very cheap, if you don't have good relationship and the staff have poor attitude, patients will not come. So we had to start, and we continued this, taking different sets of people. We engaged HOS training, facility, which took this up over the months to years. And this has really, really, really helped our facility. There's appropriate utilization of hospital resources. I've talked about the energy usage. The numbering, auditing, and tracking of hospital assets. We put in some measures to number all the assets of the hospital. Everything is numbered, and when you enter into any office, there's a list of assets in that place, whether they are functional or not. When they're not functional, we send them to the store. Even the items in the store, they are audited and appropriately boarded, and the money, returned back into the purse of the hospital. And activation of electronic inventory system, which is ongoing currently. And another thing we emphasize is continuous change and improving of capacity of our staff. I told everybody knows in admin or in store, everybody involved with inventory, they must be computer literate. And the policy right down from the board downwards, if you're not ready to change, then you should be ready to get out. One thing the governor told the board or empowered the board to do was that they should think outside the box. And in fact, think without the box. If there's anything I remember every day, is think outside the box or think without the box. It means find solution anyhow. And so I tell people that I move like water. I cannot be obstructed. Is that I move around the mountain, or I go under it, or I go above it, or water always finds its level and always moves. Then lumping activities together to manage overhead costs. This has to do with merging travels and things. And if there are things to do, instead of creating a particular event for a small thing, why don't you merge it? We'll just merge it with the events of maybe the departmental meetings, and then we're able to scale through it. The next slide. So our attitude, the next slide, please. Our attitude is that little things that can be done day by day, week by week, month by month, quarter by quarter, can result into a definitive change. And how did I get into this? I realized that I think there was a day at home some years back, a tap was leaking and I left a big bucket, a big bowl, there, and I went to work. By the time I came back in the evening, within 8 hours to 9 hours, the bowl was full and overflowing to over, I think over like how many, I can't quantify in terms of meals, but it was a big bucket of over, let's say, 5,000 liters or something like that. So, and I realized that not procrastinating, taking action every day, every week, instant action ensures transformation and change. Those little things might not be significant at the start, but they accumulate. They bring about something good. And so what are our gains or the results? From 2020 to 2021, there was a remarkable increase in our revenue. Because I'm a public sector, I am not permitted to give exact figures. So please permit me to just stay with percentages. So from 2020 to 2021, we had over 70.15% increase in our IGR. And you can bet it, the governor himself was impressed and happy with the board. between 2021 to 2022, now inflation has started setting in, dollar has started going higher. But our strategies, we continue to increase, and we hope not to, to relent. I remember telling the board one day that we are now making this every month. And then the board chairman said, oh, you're making that one. That is too small. That is what a small hospital will make. And I said, oh my goodness. So it was like we had to just double. And I went back to my team. I said, look, we are not there yet. So stop jumping and flying. We have to start, doing better. So we made a 57.88% increase between 2021 to 2022. And 2022 to 2023, of course, the inflation has now eaten, deeper, 17.1%. But if we were to compare without any inflation, to 2020, you can imagine what the increase would have been. And then we're able to have a stable healthcare service because of the mindset change, the new orientation of our staff, and things like that. So, and then we were able to gain confidence of other stakeholders. Patients felt more comfortable. We started having more elites coming to the hospital because we were able to expand our services. We started a corporate service, and we started some other innovative ambulatory care, CSR with free healthcare. And we were doing a lot of, a lot of collaboration with NGOs, community associations, and groups. And of course, we were able to gain the trust of philanthropists to invest in the hospital and build. And the policy of the hospital from the board downwards is we solicit or advocate for build and equip. The sponsor is fully in charge because we realize that a lot of philanthropists have lost trust in public, setting. They don't want to invest their money in their hands because they believe that a percentage will go to this, a percentage will come down, and then, pardon and everything. So we just give them the liberty. But what we do, or what we insist, is that you will give us the standard we desire. And this has always been upheld. Currently now we have 2 big buildings ongoing, which are almost, 90% or 70 to 90% completed. And so we were able to also empower the heads of departments. They're free to bring their ideas because we believe in diversity of ideas. And there's something I didn't put here, but I did an experiment, I think in 2022. I gave one of the head caterers in the hospital, I asked them in the kitchen department, what can you do to generate funds apart from cooking for staff and officers and patients and things like that? And they said, well, they would have loved to have a canteen, but there's no space. So they cannot run a canteen. And I said, look, we can run a mobile canteen. Why don't we look at something cheap that we can do and let's start the business? And they said, okay, I will give you a seed money. I don't want to touch the money of the funds from the hospital. So I gave this woman 20,000 naira. And I said, go and buy everything that is needed to start making more money and sell to staff in the morning so that they don't have to go out and look for food and things like that. And then they started. And after a quarter, she came to tell me the money has become 100 and something. And after like a year, this 20,000 had become over 1 million. I was impressed, and I was so happy, that I could entrust such little funds into the hands of somebody in the same system, a public facility, and she could trade with it. At a point in time, we had to engage a casual staff, and I told her you will pay that casual staff for our services to sell and to do the money and everything. Money is a bean cake or something. No, akara is bean cake. It's pudding. So this shows that there are potentials. And if we're able to empower our heads of departments, we can get great results from them. The next slide, please. So what are our challenges? There is no way we would have been able to do this without resistance. We got a lot of resistance, internal resistance, external forces and resistances, bringing, this and this and this. And when we were there, as long as we were within the confines of the law, till I'm speaking with you, we have not been charged. We have had like 3-4 different auditing exercises. We have not been charged with mismanagement of funds or, VAMED and things like that, because we stay within the confines of the law, but we were just, the board and the management were just innovative to bring a change. And then the mindset of it must be done this way is what we believe we might want to do. But there are always several options to get things done, and they can be done excellently well if only we have a goal and we acknowledge that this can be done. So we are work in progress. There's still a lot of grounds to be done, and we take a day at a time. Larry, I'm on the next slide. And what am I trying to say? We have not gotten there at all, because I realized that there's still a lot of things to do. And so we take a day at a time. We ensure daily, weekly, monthly, quarterly, annual reviews, and constant change. If there's anything that is permanent or constant in life, is change. And honestly, engaging in master's program in BSN, Business School Netherlands, has also transformed my mindset and made me to be a better manager. And I keep asking questions. And as I round up, I want to, make these acknowledgements and appreciate people who have contributed to this leadership, tour, and made this journey easier for me. I want to appreciate the board chairman, Dr. Kunle Azan, and all the other distinguished board members of my institution. I want to thank all my management team, my core management team, the director of admin, director of finance, the CMAC and the current acting CMAC have been tremendous. I've been blessed with good team, honestly. And the stakeholders, the union leaders, the head of department and head of unions, practically everybody seem to have the same mindset now. When somebody is coming to me and the social worker is saying that, madam, some people don't want to pay, I say, you know what to do. They won't even bring salt to me. They would have sorted it. I would tell them no. They know. There was somebody was saying to a politician one day, I said, even if the governor comes into this hospital today, I will collect money for whatever services. I cannot go to the CMD, and I just laughed. And of course, recently, the governor had one of his relatives come to the hospital, and he called me and said, let me know the bill. And I said, let me know the bill for the 10 sessions. And it's that policy trickled down from the top. My board chairman is a leading example. He walks the talk, and all the other board members. And of course, I want to appreciate the leadership of the BSN for giving this platform to showcase the little thing that we've been able to do in OOETH, and for also taking me up. The first time I saw and met Professor Larry Bale, I told him, I want to know what you are eating or what you are eating that has gotten you to this level of confidence. And you're a pharmacist, and then you have transformed to this level. And he said, I have to come to BSN. And since I've been a member of, a student in BSN, I'm still a student. I'll soon graduate by the grace of God. And my life has not been the same. And my leadership style has always improved. And I want to thank God for Dr. Ademola Dada, the MD of FMC Ebute Metta, and Professor Adebowale Adekoya. They are people I can call anytime, any day to ask so many questions. How are you running it in your hospital? How can you do this? From policy documents to this and that, they have been quite supportive, and so many other CMDs that have made their experiences available for me to learn from, and because I'm still learning. So thank you all for listening. I hope you have been able to learn a little bit from what we are doing in OOETH, and we trust, and I'm also eager to learn more from the private sector this afternoon and from every other person. And if there are areas you believe that we still need to make improvements, please feel free to call me. We are open to do better. Thank you very much. Thanks for listening.
Thank you so much for a very beautiful presentation. And we call on Sonny Halume to make his presentation at this point. Thank you so much. May create time while Sonny is presenting for you to see large chunk of comments on the chat room, Dr. Fatugashi. Thank you so much. Sonny, over to you.
Good evening, distinguished ladies and gentlemen.
Good evening.
It's confirmed that you can hear me?
Yes, we can hear you.
All right, thank you so much. First of all, I'd like to thank the management of the Business School Netherlands, especially Professor Larry Bale, for giving me this opportunity. just like Dr. Fatu-Gyashe said, Professor Bale has been he has been my mentor for years, and I've been under his mentorship. So I'm surprised this evening for him saying that I am his mentor. And thank you much for that flowery introduction. I also like to thank Dr. Fatu-Gyashe for that beautiful presentation. I'm going to be looking at the same topic, but from the perspective of the private sector. This is the outline of my presentation introduction. Then I will be talking about the challenges faced by healthcare institutions in Nigeria. And then when you talk about financial leadership, the things you should look at as a private healthcare facility, cash flow versus profitability. Then I look at strategies for growth and then strategies for cost reduction. Now, I want to start with a few quotes. This one is from Donald Trump. The first rule of business is to stay in business. And the second quote is from Peter Drucker. Effective leadership is not about making speeches or being liked. Leadership is defined by results, not attributes. The third quote, financial management is the art of keeping the wolf away from the door and the vultures circling overhead. And lastly, in healthcare, the biggest room in the world is the room for improvement. Talking about introduction now, I belong, the policy commission I belong to at the Nigerian Economic Summit Group is called Healthcare as a Business. Healthcare as a business. Ladies and gentlemen, healthcare is a business. All right? And it must be run as a business. But we as healthcare professionals, we have all the technical know-how to manage our patients. But we most times do not have the business acumen to be able to run a healthcare facility. And so it is important. I know of someone when he wanted to start his practice and he was looking for investors, and one of them told him, you are a good surgeon, I know that, but except you go to a business school, I'm not going to drop a penny in your business. You have to go and learn how to manage a business. You need to go to a business school. So this person had to go to a business school before he started his practice, and then the person was able to invest in the business. So as healthcare professionals, it's not just enough for us to have the technical know-how. We've been trained about that in school. We are good surgeons, good doctors, good pediatricians. We also need to learn how to be business managers because you are actually running a business. And then when you start a business, you need to build an operating system for your business. It's like the iPhone, okay? It's like your iPhone. If you lose your handset today, you can still get all your information back because it's stored in the cloud. This is because they have an operating system. So if you are starting a business, you must have an operating system so that the business can run outside of you. Especially in hospitals, you will see that hospitals in Nigeria do not survive beyond the founder. Once the founder passes on, the business also dies. And the reason, two reasons, because they have not built an operating system, their business around an operating system that can run without them, and also because they didn't put in a succession plan in place for that business to run. Even when they are alive, they are overworked because they must be there all the time, doing clinicals and also running the business side of things. That shouldn't be so if you put an operating system in place. And lastly, to achieve financial leadership for your business, you must have proper bookkeeping, proper accounting for a lot of reasons. Some hospitals or some healthcare facilities, they want to borrow money from the bank, then they said the bank is not forthcoming. But part of the reasons why the bank is not forthcoming, because they don't have accounting records. They cannot provide audited financial statement for the past 5 years. They cannot present cash flow. They cannot present their balance sheet. Without these things, the bank cannot take a decision whether to give you money or not. Not only if you want to collect money from the bank, you may also want to attract investors, or you may even want to attract grants from foreign organizations, and they will be asking for some things. And part of the things they ask for is your financial record. So it's important. In fact, what I recommend to people is that if you are starting any business and you have budget only to employ one person outside of you, that person must be an accountant if you don't want to run into problems. You know, apart from keeping your books, it also helps you to be able to fulfill all the financial obligations you need to fulfill as a business before FIRS and LRS will start knocking at your door. I hear stories of people when LRS or FIRS land them with liabilities, tax liabilities. If they are to pay those liabilities, that will be the end of the business. And so some of them, what do? Though that is illegal, they will quietly go and change the name of their business, change location, and continue as a new business elsewhere, just because that liability is too much. But to prevent all that, have good accounting and make sure you fulfill your tax liabilities. Okay, so in healthcare landscape, financial leadership ensures the sustainability and growth of healthcare institutions. And with rising cost and demand for quality healthcare organizations must adopt effective strategies for cost control and revenue growth. Warren Buffett actually said that accounting is the language of business. You don't have to, you don't need to be an accountant, but you must understand a few basic things if you are running a healthcare business. Accounting provides it helps you to record your financial transactions, classify and report financial data, and analyze and interpret financial performance. So for somebody who heads a healthcare organization, just know a few basic things. You must be able to read a financial statement and be able to know the financial health of your business, all right? So that you will know when there are issues. These are some of the simple indices you can use to determine the financial health of a business. And this is why it's important that leadership, somebody who holds a leadership position in healthcare, the basic is that you should go to a business school, like Business School in the Netherlands, where you can learn a few basic accounting things, like all these ratios. These indices gives you insight as to the ability of your business to pay debts. That's the liquidity of the business, the profitability and efficiency of your business, the solvency of your business, the cash flow generation and management, and return on investment for shareholders. So these indices help you to determine the financial health of your business and ways you can make improvements. What are the challenges that healthcare institutions face in Nigeria? Number one is manpower. With the JAPA syndrome, every healthcare practitioner, doctors, nurses, pharmacists, everybody wants to work abroad now. And how do you mitigate against that? Okay, that means you have to build into your system some level of redundancy so that you can still continue to operate. Then the exchange rate, really very crazy, so volatile. I think sometime last year, exchange rate was still about 700 naira to $1, and now it's over 1,600. And in the sector of the industry I belong to, a lot of our input consumables are imported. So you can imagine what has happened in the past 1 or 2 years as regards the cost of sales and the cost of doing business. And then we also have some of our suppliers that give us line of credit. By the time you order the product, maybe exchange rate was 1,000 naira to $1. By the time you are paying back, it has gone to maybe 1,000 to 1,003. And that is exchange rate loss. And that is why you saw some businesses this year and last year, when they were making their financial, you see massive loss, and they will say it was due to exchange rate loss, especially if you borrowed money or you have some obligations that you are paying back in dollars. Then cost of power, electricity and diesel. We are now in Bande. It has shot up our cost to like ×3. The cost of diesel has also gone up. A lot of very challenging. Then reduce purchasing power with inflation. Purchasing power of the patient has reduced. And then for those who have the money, they would rather go abroad, medical tourism. And then in Nigeria, payment is more of out of pocket rather than HMO. Out of pocket healthcare expenditure accounts for about 75% of the total healthcare expenditure. And health insurance coverage is just about 5%. About 95% of Nigerians do not have health insurance. And then you also have competitions, quacks, faith-based institutions, and tradomedicals. Whether you like it or not, they are competing with you. It's just like Coca-Cola. The competitor for Coca-Cola is not only 7-Up, Biggie, and all that. Its major competitor is actually water, right? So these people are real competitors, especially in the sector I belong to, which is fertility clinic. The first port of call for couples trying to conceive will be faith-based institution, okay? And so one of our strategies has been that we make presentation at faith-based institution to also let people know that IVF itself is a form of miracle, and there is nothing wrong with it to explore as option in conjunction with prayer. All right, so when you have a healthcare facility, understand that cash flow is king, and there is difference between cash flow and profitability. Some people start their business and they do not understand this, and because cash is coming in, they confuse that, or they equate that to profitability, and they start spending money, buying cars, buying houses, marrying second or third wife, and then a few years down the line, the business does not exist anymore. Why? One of the reasons is when they confuse cash flow with profitability, because money, they see money coming in, and they just think the business is doing well. But cash flow is important. Cash flow is king, and it is the lifeblood of a business. All right. But it's important you keep an eye on your cash flow, and then of course profitability. Cash flow, if you have negative cash flow, the business is likely to hit the rocks very fast if the problem is cash flow. If the problem is profitability and your cash flow is good, you have time to be able to reorganize your business and make it profitable. But if cash flow is not good, you won't even have time. Before you know it, you can no longer operate. You can't pay staff salary. You can't pay your suppliers. So you don't even have the resources to continue to render service because of cash flow challenges. And every business owner in the healthcare need to understand that for you to be able to achieve financial leadership. So there are different scenarios. It could be, but where you need to be to achieve financial leadership is that your cash flow should be positive and you should have good profit. But there are other scenarios where the cash flow is positive, and then which is where you should be as a financial leader. Cash flow is positive and profit is good, all right? But there are instances where cash flow is negative and the profit is good. The implication of this is that there is liquidity risk and the business will be struggling, all right? And it will be difficult to convince investors to want to invest. Now, cash flow may be positive and then profit is poor. The business can maintain operations and meet financial obligations in the short term, despite low profitability. But investors on the long term will not be willing to invest in that kind of business. And down the line, it may also run into problems. And then this one is a no-no, negative cash flow and negative profitability. The question you ask is, why are you in that kind of business? All right, we'll look at revenues for revenue growth before we talk about cost control. Now, what I found out I have worked in various sectors of the economy, and now that I'm in healthcare, what I found out about healthcare organizations is that they are very, very conservative when it comes to sales and marketing, right? And one of the reasons is because the regulations which says that as a medical practitioner, you cannot promote yourself. But people misunderstand that. Yes, as a medical practitioner, you cannot promote yourself. But as a healthcare business, you can promote your healthcare business. You can promote your healthcare business. But as a healthcare professional, you cannot promote yourself. And we need to understand that. This has been tested in court. So I'm speaking from a position of knowledge. It's been tested in court that the business is different from the practitioner who cannot promote himself. So you can promote yourself within the ethics of, within the medical ethics, right? But in healthcare organizations, we operate on the product concept. And what the product concept, Ralph Emerson, this quote from him wraps up what the product concept is about. That if you build a better mousetrap, the world will beat a path to your door. But this is not true. It's like even what the Bible said, that you can't you can't put on a candle and put it under the bed. I'm paraphrasing now. That's not the exact quote. I'm not a pastor. So you have a good product and then you are not promoting it. So how is the world going to know about it? You may be the best surgeon and then nobody knows. It's like winking in the dark. So the concept to adopt is there are different concepts. There's the marketing concept, the selling concept and all that. This is not the day to discuss that. But the concept that healthcare organizations should adopt is the holistic marketing concept, which integrates internal marketing, integrated marketing, relationship marketing, and socially responsible marketing into a unified strategy. I'm sure Professor Bale understands all this better than me. He was also one of my teachers in this area. All right. Strategies for growth. Number one, enhance patient experience and satisfaction. That is very important because a satisfied customer is always the least expensive form of marketing, especially in this industry. I know the amount of clients we get in my clinic due to word of mouth communication. When they get good experience, then they tell others. So a satisfied customer is always the least expensive form of marketing. And the reverse is the case. A dissatisfied customer is a disaster for your business. It erodes your brand reputation. And therefore, that customer experience is important. And customer experience goes beyond the basic. If somebody has malaria and comes to your facility, the minimum they expect is that they will get medication for the malaria and they will be cured. But that is basic, that is given. There are some other experiences that you can give that will add up to all that. In my place, we serve one of the things we've said is that number one, we don't even call them patients. That's because of the peculiarity of our own sector. We don't want them to feel that they are sick. So we don't call them patients, we call them clients, all right? No client must wait to see the doctor for more than 10 minutes. When they enter our facility, they should not have to wait for more than 10 minutes, okay? And within that 10 minutes, they are waiting. We have snacks for them, tea, coffee, soft drink, water, so that they can feel relaxed. And our first consultation, there is a lot of communication between the client and the doctor so that they fully understand, the patient fully understand their situation and the different treatment options. Gone are the days where a doctor will just write a prescription for you, not telling you about your situation, not explaining things to you and all that. Patient education is important. Communication is important. You can also use app to engage your patients. And then I also expect that by now, every private healthcare should be using electronic medical record and shouldn't be carrying files like hospitals used to carry in those days when you go to hospital. Then patient portal, we have portals for our patients where they can access their record, make payment, and do other things, all right? At the end of the day, people won't remember what you said or did. They will remember how you made them feel. That's a quotation from Maya Angelou. Next, now, let's look at some marketing strategies that we use in my place. We have digital marketing using programmatic. And what does this mean? We sign on an agency that does this for us. And what it means is that when somebody searches for IVF, for example, searches for mother trying to conceive, searches for surrogacy, things relating to IVF, the next thing, the person will start getting exposure to adverts from our business, and that is called programmatic, all right? In fact, some people say that, I don't know how far that is true, that when you talk about buying a Toyota car, that your phone is listening to you, and the next thing, you are browsing online, and then you are getting exposed to adverts for Toyota cars. Whether your phone listens to you or not, I'm not sure about that. But however, your browsing history can help technology to expose you to what you are likely going to get, and then what you are likely searching for, and then you will be exposed to that advert. And healthcare can do that. Somebody may be looking for a pediatrician, may be looking for an orthopedic surgeon and doesn't know where to go, and is searching for it. And then the next thing is seeing the advert of your organization. That is called programmatic. Those are the things you can do to digital marketing. And then we have CMRs that we use to those who show interest in our services. And then we have our customer care people who call them up and engage them to book appointment for them, and then they can come in. So gone are the days where you just sit down and think that, oh, I'm the best surgeon in town, I don't need to do anything about marketing. Then search engine optimization. What search engine optimization does is that if somebody is searching for an O&G clinic in Nigeria, and then SEO will rank them, you should be able to, digital marketing agencies should be able to, if they are working for you, be able to ensure that your organization is ranked on top when it comes to search engine organization. Because if I go and search, okay, top 5 IVF clinics in Nigeria, and then I don't see yours there, I'm not going to be confident visiting. All right. You can achieve that for you to be on top of the ranking through search engine optimization. And then you can hold webinars and podcasts. You can have live shows on Instagram, live presentation on Instagram to talk about the different offerings you have. The other time we participated in an online webinar that was organized by us, though we organized webinars too, where it was a Christian webinar and the pastors were talking about IVF and the ethics of IVF and whether it was okay for Christians to participate. And we also got involved. We asked to be involved. We also made our presentation there and all that, you know, just to educate people about IVF. Those are things that you can do as a healthcare organization to grow your revenue. Then, of course, you must have social media handles, Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, all of them. And you must be active there, okay? And engage your clients and potential clients through your social media. Then conventional media. The other day, I was talking to somebody about my organization having billboard. And the person said, how can a clinic have billboards? And I said, why not? We are too conservative in healthcare. Why can a healthcare organization not have billboard? It is the content that matters. You have to be creative about the content, all right? As long as you stay within the ethics of the profession. Okay. Currently, for example, Brick Clinic, we are doing radio, all right? And what is the excuse we have given ourselves to be on radio? This year is our 25th anniversary. So we went on radio to say, we have been in the industry for 25 years, and this has been our achievements, and these are the reasons why you need to continue to trust us. We can also put that on the billboard. We can put that in the press, all right? So it is the content of that media you are using that matters. So conventional media like radio, billboard, television, healthcare organizations can use them creatively. And then differentiation, segmentation, targeting, and positioning. You need to differentiate your healthcare practice. The way we have differentiated ourselves is our quality management system, right? We are built on a quality management system. We differentiate ourselves on quality management system and emotional management. In fact, we say that our business is not IVF, that our business is emotional management. The reason is because couples trying to conceive are already going through a lot and they need a lot of emotional management. So we have counselors, apart from the doctors, who help them to manage this process. And so we say we are in the business of emotional management and not IVF. Those are the ways we have distinguished ourselves, or we have differentiated ourselves in the industry. Then referrals. If you are a secondary healthcare organization or a tertiary or a multi-specialist institution, we have business development managers who go out to O&G hospitals to partner and relate with them so that they can give us referrals. So you need to have a team that does that so that you can get referrals from other hospitals. In fact, some of the healthcare businesses that provide secondary and tertiary services, most of their clients are based on referrals. So it's essential that you harness this to be able to grow your revenue. Telemedicine, consultation does not have to be face-to-face anymore. I mean, you can do that virtually, and we do a lot of that virtual consultation in my place. Now, you can expand your service offering through strategic partnership, right? There is a hospital I know that they have a lot of partnership with other healthcare providers. So you have a dentist in there, you have an optician inside their facility, but it's like in pharmacy, we call that shop in shop. So you have a supermarket and then your pharmacy is inside a supermarket. So that's a shop in shop. So it's something similar to that. So the dentist is practicing within your facility. You are not a dentist, but you call it a dentist, is practicing within your, that's a strategic partnership. You have an optician who is also in your facility. So you are leasing that space to them. You make money from there, and you also share revenue from that service. That is how you can grow your revenue. And a lot of hospitals who have massive spaces are doing that today. Now, you can also diversify into health and wellness programs, for example, gym services. A clinic, a hospital, I think about 2 weeks ago, actually invited me to their services. So those are also things you can diversify into to grow your revenue. I need to move quickly. Of course, employee engagement and retention. Now that you have the problem of JAPA, understand that money is important. There's no doubt. You have to pay above the industry average to retain your employees. But other than that, there are non-financial benefits that your employees can enjoy. They want job security. They want to have a sense of psychological safety. So other than just the financial benefits, you got to explore all those non-financial benefits to engage and retain your employees. Then improve payers relationship, negotiation of your contract and reimbursement with HMOs, and then payer maximization, optimization, focus on attracting patients with high-paying insurance plan and out-of-pocket patients. All right, because insurance will not pay you immediately. You need cash on the immediate, and out-of-pocket patients will fill in that. But you need to be careful of the HMOs you relate with. In my previous place, I signed on an HMO. I was so excited that I just signed on an HMO to work with us. And then the next thing, the medical director said, don't you know this HMO? They are notorious in the industries. They don't pay claims. So I quickly had to go and withdraw the agreement we signed. So you need to be careful, because some HMOs are just notorious. They will owe you and you won't have money to operate. You can expand through brownfield acquisition. You don't have to build from scratch. Part of the challenges we have in Nigeria is that we do not like to sell our businesses. But really, I'm looking forward to growing a business that I can sell so that I can retire to the Bahamas or one exotic island like that and enjoy myself. So if you have a business and you can sell it for a fantastic amount, why not? And so you can buy an existing business, right? If when you want to expand. And that is what we did recently at Brick Clinic. We bought an existing fertility clinic in London. So we have Brick Clinic in London right now. That is a brownfield acquisition. So you don't have to start from scratch. You can grow your revenue and expand through brownfield acquisition. And we're also looking into doing that in Nigeria and across West Africa. Now, reverse medical tourism. You got to explore that. We have a strategy to target Nigerians in the diaspora because some Nigerians have reasons to come back home for medical treatment. And one of the reasons is the long waiting time before they can access healthcare, especially in Canada. You may wait for months. And so some Nigerians will prefer to come back home for treatment. But also, the peculiarity of IVF, people require donor eggs or donor sperm. They would rather come back to Nigeria so that they can get not only black donor eggs and sperm, but also those who are Nigerians. So we explore that opportunity, and so we'll market to people in the diaspora. So depending on the peculiarity and where you play, you can also target people in the diaspora. All right. Those are the strategies for revenue growth. I go on now to strategies for cost control. The first step is budgeting. Budget is telling you, this is a quote from Dave Ramsey, budget is telling your money where to go instead of wondering where it went. And there's a second quote, you cannot control what you cannot measure. Simple. So cost control starts from budgeting. And the budgeting season in my place is about now, September and October. We're already planning for 2025. By end of October, we finalize what is our projected revenue, what profit do we want to make in 2025, cash flow projection, everything. You must start from that point. Budget planning and management. Otherwise, you will just be wondering where your money went. All right, then optimize operational efficiency, lean management, reduce waste. I remember when I first assumed my current role, I had to look at the payroll and ask HR, you need to justify to me why anybody on this payroll should remain. And one interesting one I found out was somebody who comes in just twice every week to come and supervise what our outsourced cleaners have done. Meanwhile, the outsourced cleaners have their own supervisors. I didn't see the relevance of that. And we have to fire that person immediately. And nothing has happened in terms of the delivery of our cleaning services. So that person was more or less redundant and has been earning salary for years there. So you got to look through your staff list, look through your operations and see where you can reduce cost and wastages. Then automation is very important, that your processes are automated. That will reduce cost and will also reduce manpower. And lastly, there under operational efficiency is resource utilization. Ensure that you are not overstaffed. Of course, also don't be understaffed. And then don't buy equipment that you should not have just because it's the fad. Oh, we need to have this. That was a cleaning that had to buy a particular equipment. And in over 6 months, nobody used that equipment. So what was the relevance? And that was something very expensive, going to about 30 million naira. So ensure that you are efficient and you optimize your operation. Now, efficient billing system. You know, this is a service industry, and sometimes it is difficult to determine the cost price of the service you render. We were doing a review for a clinic recently, and we found out that there is a particular service they've been providing at a loss below the cost price to the clinic. So you need to look at your billing system and ensure that you are not rendering any service at a loss. And you should put a revenue assurance system in place so that there are no leakages. Sometimes staff can collude with clients to render service and the client do not pay. In my place, we do not take cash, but maybe there are still clinics who take cash. But what happens in such clinics is there may be instances of cash suppression. Staff will suppress cash, and I've experienced that before. Not here because we don't do cash, where staff maybe in a day, the cash revenue that came in is 100 million, and then staff will go and deposit 500 million and keep the rest. And then that clinic, you don't find out. That happened for close to 1 year before the clinic found out what was going on, right? Then insurance cover is very important for you to manage costs. Your equipment should be insured. Once crazy power surge from the mains, and then your equipment can be gone. And then I remember a particular equipment that we had that had a problem, and then because it had a cover from GE had to replace what was faulty at no cost. But if we didn't have that cover, we would have had to cough out 10 million naira to replace that particular thing. So you see the cost savings. Then, of course, professional indemnity for your staff. You can lease out unutilized spaces. I spoke about that, partnership spaces where you are not using. Lease them out. Let other practitioners. It will enhance your practice because they know that any service they want, apart from your main service, they can get it. The people using the space will pay you rent, and then you also share revenue. Then you don't have to pay for all your equipment at once. You can lease, right? And corporate governance, ensure proper corporate governance. Like I said, you must have an accountant, and you must do the right thing. Pay your pension, pay your pay, pay your company income tax, your withholding tax. Because if you don't, by the time the LRs or FRs come, you have to pay them, and then you have to pay interest and penalty. And that is more money for you. So it's important that there is compliance in this area. It can be a lot of headache for businesses if you are not doing the right thing as regards this. Then energy and facility management. I think the way to go with the, we have to have power 24/7 in an IVF center. And I think the way to go for businesses like this is solar, right? So you have your generator, you have power from the mains, and then you have solar. And there are organizations right now who can actually be solar for you, because acquisition cost for solar can be a lot, but you pay on a pay-as-you-go basis, right? They build the solar for you, and then you can pay over 5 years or 10 years, depending. We've spoken about space utilization. That preventive maintenance is important, because if you don't, at the end of the day, you are going to spend money to repair your equipment. Then financial incentive for staff if they help reduce cost, so that everyone can have a buy-in into cost reduction for the business. Supply chain management. What is important, first of all, in supply chain management is the choice of your suppliers. I know of a hospital that when the person started, it was his friends and relatives who are supplying the drugs, the consumables. And then he got a purchasing manager and who said, you know what, these people are ripping us off. I can get it directly from suppliers and it will be way much cheaper. And then the person gave the purchasing person that chance and he saw the savings and he had to fire all his friends and relatives. Sometimes your friends and relatives may not be good for your business. And so he made a lot of savings. So your choice of suppliers are important, that they are not ripping you off. And then your inventory management, just-in-time inventory management, and build good supplier relationship. The best form of business really is a business where your patient or your customer pay you immediately, and then your suppliers give you some form of credit. You will have a fantastic cash flow. All right. So you should have relationship with suppliers that you can negotiate some credit terms. Then enhance revenue cycle management to reduce claim denial from HMOs. Ensure you go through the process and you get all the necessary approvals so that they don't have any excuse not to pay your claims, and ensure that the billings are done on time. If they are not sent on time, then some staff can just be not doing what they are supposed to do, and then you find out that the bills have not even gone, and meanwhile you are expecting payment. But you put plans and processes in place to ensure these are done properly. And lastly is flexible staff modeling, right? All the doctors all the specialists do not have to be your staff. You can do a fee-for-service arrangement, and a lot of hospitals are doing that. So the surgeon comes in, does his procedure, and is paid for that. He's not on your payroll, because keeping them on your payroll is really, really very expensive. So a better form is fee-for-service or what is called per diem. You can also have part-time, locum, contract staff, all that mix to reduce your cost. Thank you very much. I hope I have not bored you. And once again, I thank Professor Lere Bale for this opportunity. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Sonny, for a very beautiful presentation. You are making money from all sides now, because you are spoken like a professional, and you are spoken professorially. So you are making money from teaching professorially, and you are spoken like somebody with practical knowledge as a professional. So you are making money on both sides of the bridge. You are the bridge itself, and you are chopping from all the two hamlets. And you know the African adage that says you cannot shop from the two hamlets when you are chopping.
Professor Bale, I'm still waiting for the money. Oh.
Let's thank these people who have been able to put things together. We may create time now, Sonny, to just look at response to you, how people have perceived your presentation, and I mean, the people have really clapped for you, and people are really very happy with you. In the meanwhile, while the Q&A may be on, if you have questions, please go to the Q&A and put your questions under the Q&A. The chat room is for chatting. The Q&A is for questions. In the last 1.5 hours, these people have spoken extensively about financial leadership in healthcare. They spoke about the role of financial leadership in healthcare, which goes beyond merely budget management, but they spoke about the fact that it involves strategy, decision-making, resource allocation, financial planning, investment in systems that promote long-term growth. And these topics is very, very topical and very contemporary, because with the rising healthcare costs, constrained budget, increasing demand for services, financial leadership becomes key driver in controlling costs while accelerating growth. Both of them have spoken extensively about strategies for cost control, which includes operational efficiency, automation, streamlining supply chain management, optimizing staffing patterns to reduce overtime costs and eliminate duplication. Sonny just spoke about taking a second look at your payroll and seeking for justification for every single person. Value-based care, focusing on outcomes, preventive care, chronic disease management. You can reduce unnecessary tests, hospital readmissions, complications, which is also a way to control cost for all parties. You need to renegotiate supply and payer contracts, particularly with vendors, pharmaceutical companies, medical equipment suppliers. Organizations can secure lower costs of essential materials, and it allows healthcare providers to minimize operating expenses and maximize revenue streams simultaneously. You could implement cost-saving technology, like the use of electronic health records. The electronic medical record is the archaic methodology that was used in the early days in the 60s. In modern times, you use electronic health records because the electronic medical record contains your medical records. But the electronic health records contains more than your medical record. It contains other health-related records, either from nutrition and everything, pharmacy, drugs, laboratory, everything is contained. Your data on analysis, your diagnosis is there. So, and with good electronic health records, with telemedicine, data analytics, these are good tools that can be used to improve patient outcomes while reducing the cost of care. So, telemedicine reduces physical infrastructure. It reduces the cost of building hospitals or healthcare. It doesn't mean that there will be, but you spend more money on technology to ensure that people don't have to physically come, because it's cost for people to leave their homes for things for which they could have resolved with telemedicine. What are the strategies for accelerating growth in healthcare? We need to diversify revenue, where we explore new service lines, outpatient services, wellness program, specialized care units that will meet the growing demand for personalized care. Telehealth, mental health can be an opportunity for expansion. So we spoke about dentistry, about pharmacy care, optometrics care, podiatry, which is care of the feet mainly for the elderly, particularly for diabetic patients. Home care can help health organizations to attract new patients and increase profitability. We can also think about strategic partnership with technology firms, pharmaceutical companies, other medical institutions, including individuals, where you can outsource specific services to them. Mergers and acquisitions can also help to achieve economies of scale, reduce duplication of services, and extend geographical reach, all of which can accelerate growth. There's a need to invest in human capital. You must prioritize. All of us were not like this when we became graduates. It was training, learning and development that transformed us to be whatever we are today. And so training people and retaining them is very crucial for healthcare professionals. And this is where business school-led analysis comes in. Investment in individual is an investment that can impact organization for hundreds of years. A highly skilled and motivated workforce leads to better patient care, increased operational efficiency, and higher revenue. If you want to invest in human capital, please reach out to us in BSM. We actually have programs specific for healthcare institutions, healthcare leadership, healthcare transformation program, which Larry will speak about during this vote of thanks. By fostering a culture of innovation, healthcare organizations can actually remain at the forefront of advancements and attract patients seeking cutting-edge care. What are the challenges in balancing cost control and growth? Although cost control is good, revenue growth is good for long-term success, but achieving the right balance can be challenging. So There are some strategies that you aim at driving revenue, such as expanding services or adapting new technology that require significant upfront investment, which can actually have a strain on organizational financial resources in the short term. So balancing short-term, medium to long-term objectives are necessary. And at times, they are cutting costs without a strategic approach can compromise the quality of care and can lead to adverse patient outcomes and potentially harming the organization's reputation and indeed revenue. So as leaders in the healthcare space, must keep on evaluating the trade-offs involved in cutting costs, while at the same time driving revenue growth. In conclusion, through strategies such as improving operational efficiency, embracing value-based care, negotiating better contracts, and adopting cost-saving technology, healthcare organizations can actually reduce expenses while maintaining high-quality care to drive revenue. Growth can also be accelerated by diversifying revenue streams, by pursuing partnership, making investment in human capital so that to drive efficiency, drive effectiveness, drive agility, drive flexibility, and to foster innovation. The key is to balance these objectives carefully to ensure financial sustainability and improve patient outcomes, ultimately contribute to the long-term success of healthcare organization. We cannot but thank these people who answered the call of Business School Netherlands, a school where you study here in Nigeria and graduate in the Netherlands. We also have full-fledged school, physical school also in Netherlands and in 16 other countries. We have done very well. Every year we bring in between 350 to 500 students every year in all our campuses, 16 of them. Nigeria alone brings in as much as about 100 students in the year. We rank among the world's best MBA school. We have great accreditation, multiple accreditation. We have about 7,000 MBA graduates. We have been able to have the best of ranking for the past 9 years, from 2000 and for the past 10 years. We are ranked in the global Tier 1 MBA ranking, where we are ranked very well in the area of quality of faculty, international diversity, class size that is very small. The maximum class size we have is 40, whereby in some schools they carry 600 people in the class. Accreditation is exceptional. Faculty-student ratio is good. Price is affordable. And you can also pay instrumentally. Timeless excellence is the order of the day. We put us in the top rank anywhere in the world. Whatever qualification you get from Business School Netherlands, you can use your certificate in Netherlands, in UK, Spain, in South America, in North America, in Asia, in Russia, in China, in every country in Africa, both English-speaking, French-speaking, Dutch-speaking, Portuguese-speaking, Spanish-speaking, you find them. Our officers are here, and you can call any one of them to be able to join our MBA program. But if I'm deeply interested in the concept of healthcare leadership, Larry Olomutimbi is the program manager for this. And we expect you to please make the best use of the opportunity you have today to snap this page and reach out to him to register for the healthcare transformation program, which he will speak about. We believe that it's time for you to personally reinvent yourself, which will lead to professional investment. Our takeaways for today is that knowledge is of no value unless you put it into practice. Intelligent people will always solve problems, but wise people prevent problems. We have given you information. We believe you have been inspired today, but without application of this information that we have been giving, it will lead to frustration. But the inspired information plus application will lead to your transformation. And so we want you to take action today, register with us, so that we can close the gap between your dream and your desired result by taking action to connect with us. It's on this reason we want you to take action. Remain bright, brave, bold, beautiful, and brilliant. education we see as a passport to extraordinary transformation, and you can start your journey today. So that note, I would like to call on Dr. Fatou Gashi to just look at the Q&A and just answer questions in the next 2-3 minutes. We are already over our time by about 8 minutes or 10 minutes. Just take like 2-3 minutes to answer the basic questions that concern you on the. Have you seen the Q&A room?
I've seen it, but most of the questions are directed towards Farm Sonny.
Okay, fine.
The people in the public sector want to know how they can make business, healthcare business, business really.
Okay.
You know,
so no problem.
Is,
so do I ask Sonny to therefore, have you taken time to look at the questions?
I've read them.
No,
question one, question
I'm talking of Sonny.
Yes, I have.
Okay.
So the question here says, is wondering how we can integrate this into teaching hospital setting, which is running healthcare as a business.
Yeah.
I think is change of mindset. Okay. Good. And that responsibility lies on the leadership of such institutions to understand that this is a business, even though it's public sector. I'm happy some of the things Dr. Fatou Gashi mentioned when she said how she grew the revenue, and when she said even if the governor comes in, he would have to pay for his bill. That is because it's a business and it must be run as a business. So it is the responsibility of the leadership to say, okay, this is a business, even if the government is giving me subvention, I must make profit out of what they have given me. Just like a doctor gave money to somebody to start making more money, 20,000, and the person transformed it to over $1 million after some years. So even if government is giving you subvention, are you making profit as a government establishment? Do you have your P&L? Is that business profitable? And it should be your responsibility to ensure that before you leave, you make that business profitable. So the responsibility lies on leadership. The second question, one of the challenges of public sector institutions is indigent patients accessing care. What advice do you have for the public hospital? Well, healthcare is expensive, unfortunately. Healthcare is expensive. And that is where government comes in, where you have the NHS system they run in other parts of the world. But unfortunately, we don't have that here. And like we saw, even HMO, only about 5% of Nigerians have access to HMO. But you, in as much as you make provision for people who are indigent, you also must understand that you run a business, and if that business goes down, then you are not even available to continue to provide service to anybody, whether indigent or not. So you need to strike a balance with that. For example, in our place, we also have, in partnership with LASUT, Institute of Fertility Medicine, where we provide IVF at highly subsidized rates and not at commercial rate. So you can have that mix, all right, as an organization. The best approach to starting a hospital in a new environment, I think it depends on the person who's starting the hospital. You must have the expertise. That is, what is your area of specialization first, and then I will advise that you also get some business knowledge on how to run a business before you start your hospital, and not just the medical expertise. Can you give a brief approach about relationship marketing in a healthcare organization? Yeah, relationship marketing in any organization, there must be relationship marketing. And that is basically relating with the other healthcare providers who give you referrals, and also relating with your clients or patient. There is a particular hospital I go to. After every visit, I must get a phone call from them. They asking me, how was the service? How was my experience? They call me all the time. And you should build that kind of relationship with your client. Like I said, gone are the days when hospitals are conservative. There is competition out there, and you need to build your own loyal customer base. Thank you so much. I hope I've been able to answer your questions.
Thank you so much, Sonny. Thank you to Dr. Fadu Tugashe for a very beautiful and professionally delivered presentation today. I hope people have had beautiful experience under these people who have spoken from their heart. They have spoken with high level of integrity. They are practitioners from both private and public sector. And this is one of the richest sessions we've had in the history of the school. We have been running this program for years, but I can assure you, we've had one of the most beautiful presentations today. On that note, I would like to call on the program manager for healthcare, Mr. Larry Olorutobi, who will be talking to you about healthcare transformation leadership program. And we also be able to give you additional announcement. We also reassure those who have attended this program that the slides will be made available to us by the presenters after this presentation, and we'll work on it so that as early as possible by Monday, we can send it to all the people. Thank you so much. Over to you, Larry.
Thank you so much, sir, for your so thank you to everyone. Firstly, we would like to say thank you to all the participants, starting from our speakers. As LB said, ladies first. So I'll be saying thank you first to Dr. Bumi Fatungashe for taking out time. I know she was in class, and also she has another session that she's going to be co-hosting later today, but she took out time for us, and I really appreciate that. Thank you so much, Ma, for the privilege to speak. Also, I would like to appreciate pharmacist Sonny. I met you through LB, and you have been nothing but kind and warming and receptive to me reaching out to you. And I would like to say a big thank you, sir, for everything. Every time I've made a request, you have answered me so quickly, and there has never been an issue with how you are going to present and what you're going to be doing here today. And I want to say a very big thank you as well for taking our time to be here today. So our participants as well, for taking our time during your weekend, we would like to also say thank you for being here. Thank you for being here. I just want to do a quick introduction. We have an upcoming program. It is titled Healthcare Leadership Transformation Program. And basically it is a program on transforming healthcare leaders on how they can run their organizations or their institutions in a more efficient way, especially with the times that we are in the economy and how the world is evolving. And it was great to have these two speakers, as they are leaders in both the private and public sector. And they have also taken our time to enlighten you on how they have been making these changes. Even Dr. Bumi, as she has said, she's part of BSN. She was even part of a class earlier today. And she's also learning on the job as well. Everything that she's taking from the school, she's applying it in our organization. And I'm sure we can definitely see the changes that she's making. And we would like you to also be part of this change. As LB has shown us, from personal reinvention, it leads to professional reinvention. So you have to reinvent yourself first personally, and then move to professional reinvention. And so we have the healthcare leadership program that will be starting in October. We would definitely reach out to everyone that has taken out the time to be part of this program. And we hope that you'll be receptive to our emails, be receptive to our calls as well. Also, as well, we do run an executive MBA, as it has also been said earlier. And we are sure that there are people that want to train themselves, not just their field, but be an all-round manager. And that is what we do in Business School Netherlands. We make sure that everything that you are learning not just in a particular field, but you are learning how to be an all-round manager, to handle your institutions, to grow from being an employee to an employer, to be able to handle any situation that comes up in today's world. And we have a new set that will be starting on the 14th of September, which is next weekend. So if you're interested in registering for the Executive MBA, please also take out time to reach out to me. My number has been shown on the screen, but I will put it in the chat box one more time before we leave. Lastly, I would like to take the time to thank our CEO, our boss, Professor Larry Bale. He is a shining light in this sector, and a shining light in our community as well. And we know that he only wants people to transform and be better, and to want people to grow wherever they find themselves. And we are hoping that as we all grow together, we will see the changes that are being made in the community. So once again, thank you to every one of us that have been here today. We do not take it for granted. Do have a wonderful weekend. God bless.
Thank you, Larry. And if any one of you who is looking forward to a set of our presentation, like I mentioned, it will be made available to you. You can reach any of these people. Larry is in charge of healthcare. Bob is in charge of financial programs. Gideon is in charge of fast-moving consumer goods and telecoms. So we look forward to you making inquiries and give you all the information. Latest by Monday, we expect that Sonny will have sent in his, will possibly send in his presentation, and then latest by Monday, we send to all the attendees. God bless you. Have a lovely, lovely time, and we appreciate you all. God bless you. Bye-bye.
Thank you for having me. Bye-bye, everyone.